Hello, welcome to Parker Live. My name is Christina Holzhauser. I'm an executive assistant at Parker Staffing. For those of you who haven't joined Parker Live before, the goal is to put some good into the world. We're hoping that you leave feeling recharged and maybe even learn something new. Today, we have LinkedIn consultant and founder of My Super Connector across the pond from the UK, Jennifer Corcoran.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's really great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Yes, I'm so excited about this. I was wondering if you would mind, sharing a little about your background.
Yeah, we met a few years ago, myself and Christina. I used to be a personal assistant. I'm from Dublin originally, but I've lived in the UK for the last 18 years. So I was working in London when I first connected with Christina. And I first started to use LinkedIn as a PA and just used it to connect with my colleagues, first locally, then around the world, then my peers, which is how I found Christina, then suppliers, and just built my network on LinkedIn and fell in love with the platform and what it could do for me and my career and my job. And then fast forward a few years, I had back surgery. So I had to get one of my discs taken out of my back. So I was forced to take sick leave for about 6 months. And it was a bit like coronavirus in the sense that, I was completely inactive for a good few months. And it gave me that time to think about my life, my career. And I just decided that I wasn't 100% happy in what I was doing in my previous role and that I wanted to set up my company and help people with social media, and in particular LinkedIn, because I think for some reason LinkedIn seems to daunt a lot of people. They're confused by it, they're scared by it, they're intimidated by it. And I just think it's such an amazing platform. If you learn how to use it, it can really help you, whether you're a professional, maybe looking for a new job, or just creating more opportunities in your existing job, or if you're a business owner, it can help you to attract and find new clients. So I just love the platform. And now I help both professionals and business owners to polish up their profiles and to connect with finesse so that they can achieve their goals, whether that is, stepping up in their role or finding a new job. So I just love LinkedIn. And like I said, yeah, we've been connected, I don't know how many years, probably 3-4 years.
Yeah, I think like 4. Yeah, it's been a while. And so this kind of like segues into, my next question. So I was just curious, why is it important for, professionals to be on LinkedIn?
I think it's the largest professional social network. And at the moment, I think in lockdown, it's gone over 700 million members. And when I first started training it about 2 years ago, it was only 500. So it's growing at a rapid pace. And even though you've got over 2 billion people on Facebook, the people on LinkedIn are in that professional business mindset. So you've got a lot of the CEOs, the CFOs, the COOs, the HR department, the learning and development. You've got all those people on LinkedIn, whereas they're not necessarily active on Facebook or any of the other social media platforms. So I just think it's a great platform for professionals, whether they're using it to, connect with peers or colleagues or suppliers or do research. There's great groups on there as well that they can join for a sense of community. And I just think there's so much learning and just opportunities to collaborate that you can get from the platform that you can't really get on other social media networks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, I agree. And I know a lot of people maybe they have like a dead profile or they haven't even started one. So I would love to just kind of like go through the different sections with you so people can kind of learn how to brush theirs up a little bit.
Yeah.
So kind of starting with like images, background images, profile image. I'm just curious, if you have any tips about those. Like the background, I've seen like half people like have like a background image. I don't really feel like it's everyone. But yeah, I'd love to know your tips.
I think, for the cover photo, that's the area behind your head. And I think a lot of people just leave it as the generic default, which is just like the blue with the kind of dots behind you. And I think it's a missed opportunity, because if you're a professional, it's really an area where you can showcase what you do. So when people look at you, whether it's the desktop or the app, they can see at a glance, oh, wow, that's what they do. And I think probably the first point to call is, if you're an employee, is to check the marketing department in your company, and just check, have you got a social media policy in place? Do they have preferred cover banners for staff? Because I've done training with several companies, and one company really impressed me. They had 5 cover banners designed so staff could pick the one that resonated with them. So obviously it was branded, but it was all different colors, and I suppose it was tailored towards male and female. And I thought that was really nice. They could pick the one that kind of resonated with them. If you don't have a social media policy in place in your company, you can create one yourself on something like Canva. So that's canva.com, or you can get a graphic designer to design one. I personally, I'm graphically challenged, so I got somebody to do mine for me. I think if you are a professional, it's worth bearing in mind, like the branding of your company and then what you're going to be wearing in your headshot. You can get it all to tie in. And it doesn't have to be an all singing, all dancing banner. It can be just maybe what you do. So your title, just so people know at a glance, whether it's personal assistant, executive assistant, project manager, whatever, they know who you are. It's like you have to kind of think of it as your Broadway billboard or your West End billboard behind you. And it's kind of selling you. And what I did as a professional was a tiny little tweak. It wasn't very brave, but it just made me stand out. At the time, I was wearing green in my headshot, and I'm Irish, and the company I worked for were a French bank, and their color, their brand was green, and they were also very ethical and sustainable. So I just thought, I'm going to create a simple green background, and that's all it was, just the color green. But it really made me stand out amongst all the generic blue, even though I just had green, I had the green dress and it just the company colors. And so it wasn't offending my color or my company, it was just a color.
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could have images of you behind you. If you're someone who's maybe good at public speaking, or you help arrange events, or you network, you could have imagery behind you. But sometimes just simple works as well. But I think definitely take advantage of the space, put your thinking cap on, because it is a warm introduction to you. And just urge, if anyone wants to check out mine after, I know I'm a business owner, so it's slightly different, but it's got my brand colors, it's got my logo, it says exactly what I do, and it points to my website. So likewise, if you're creating one for your company, you could incorporate the brand colors, have the logo, have the website link. You could also put in the phone number, it's completely up to you. But I think the main thing is just to think of it as a warm introduction to you, so people at a glance know what you do, and it's like reinforcing it. So that would be my top tip for that.
I love that. Yeah, it's a warm introduction. I love that. Yeah. And then, so moving down to like the headline, I've seen people go about that in different ways, and I was just curious, how you recommend going about it.
Yeah, I think for me, I think a lot of people think of the headline as just a job title. So whether it's executive assistant or managing director, and I think you have to think of it in a formulaic style. So like ABC. So it's your job title, but also who do you help and how do you help them? So for example, executive assistant, maybe it's helping financial services to save time or money. It has to show the benefit that you can bring. My one at the moment, just at the start, it says I'm an award-winning LinkedIn trainer, so that kind of shows my kudos and credibility that I've won awards. And then it shows that I help both professionals and business owners, and it kind of spells out exactly what I do. And I think you've got 220 characters. Previously, only about a month ago, it changed. Previously, you were only allowed 120 characters. So now you can really sell yourself. And you can tag on a bit of personality, or for example, at the moment, at the end of mine, I have listed that I'm a volunteer in the UK. So I'm an NHS volunteer, because not everybody's going to be interested in the fact that I'm a LinkedIn trainer, or not everybody's going to want LinkedIn help, but they might go, wow, I'm also an NHS volunteer, or I know, what are you doing? Or I know someone who's doing it. And, so you can inject a bit of conversation or tie in some volunteering as well. But definitely don't just leave it as your title, because it's all about keywords and being found in search. So you're really limiting yourself if you only put in 2 words. Because for example, if you put in executive assistant, there are a zillion executive assistants around the world. But if you kind of tie it down, even if you just put in something like the geography, so if you're based in New York or London, putting in New York based executive assistant at least gives you more of a helping hand, because if somebody is looking for an executive assistant, they're probably going to type in New York as well. So you have to think, what are people going to be typing in the search bar when they find, look for you? So the more kind of keywords that you can put in there, whether it's the industry, maybe you work in construction or finance or insurance, the more niche you can make it, the better, and the more that you're going to show up in searches. But the main thing is, it's not just a job title, it's a lot more. So again, it's a bit like the Broadway banner, West End banner, it's your headline. So it's a bit like, ta-da, this is what I do, this is how I can help you, and this is how I help you.
Oh, I love that. And well, that's good to know that the character limit increased. I didn't realize that. So you have a lot
Yeah,
of space to work with. That's really
you can
cool.
go crazy now with an extra 100 characters.
Yeah. And then, so the about section, I see, again, some people fill it out, some people don't. I was curious. I've also seen some people talking in the third person, some people talking in the
Yeah.
first person. I would like to know, just your tips, what you recommend.
I think I definitely, for a personal profile, I recommend the first person. If it's a company page, you can talk in the third person, that's fine. But I think when it's a person, people buy people. So when you start to talk in the third person, it feels a bit like formal autobiography, and it's not very personable. People can't really relate to you, and you want people to read it and to kind of go, oh yeah, I can relate to this person, this woman, this man, they seem approachable and friendly. You don't want to just have this standoffish kind of biography that people are too intimidated to reach out and connect with you. So I would always keep it in the first person, and I would say, make sure it looks good as well. Like, so by that I mean, I see a lot of people just write one big lump of text, just this big block
Yes.
of text, and they don't space it out. So I would say, make it digestible for the eyes, put in, paragraph spacing, use white space, it's your friend, put in bullet points, just so that it's visually appealing. Because I've read some people's summaries, and they've got great content, but the way it's spaced out gives you a headache. So I would say, definitely space that out well, and always have a clear call to action at the end. So by that I mean, just always put in, if you want to get in touch with me, email me here or phone me here, because you want to be contactable. You never know who's going to reach out to you. And a lot of people forget to put in their contact information, or they don't update their contact information. So I've had that problem where I've read somebody's profile and want to get in touch, and there's no contact information whatsoever. You're just like, how can I get in touch? So yeah, definitely put some kind of call to action at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the main thing, the summary, the about section, it's your story to date. So it's all about crafting a narrative about what you've done throughout your career and trying to tie it all together. And it's about selling you as a person, your USP. What do you do different? Why do you do what you do? It's basically telling a story and linking all the dots, so that people can get a full rounded version of you. And you can touch on different things. If you do volunteering, you can mention that in your summary. A good idea is as well, you could put in a paragraph, just keywords like specialties, so that people can find you that way. And attach media as well to your summary is good. So you can attach things like maybe a guest blog you've written, a webinar link. You could link this, anything like that. Videos, graphics, PDFs, just anything that makes your summary more appealing. And I think as a professional, if you're brave enough, I think it's always a great idea to just make a quick 60-second video of you to camera, just saying who you are, what you do, what you're all about. Because people, when you reach out to connect with them, we're all curious / nosy. They will click on the video and they'll watch it and they will go, yeah or no. And if it's, yeah, that person's interesting, I want to connect with them, great. They've already started to buy into you because they've seen you on the video. If it's no, it's also great, because I just think you could apply for a job or reach out to somebody and you could end up having a phone call or a meeting. And in the end, it's a no. So it's far better to get the no first if you're not the right fit. So I think, yeah, and it doesn't have to be super slick, this video. It can be just taken to camera with your iPhone, just a neutral background like you have behind you, white behind you. And I just think it's a great way for people to buy into you. I'm happy to send you even an example after, Christine, if you wanted to share it with people. I have one of my clients, she's a physio, and she did it. And the main thing she did in her little video was she smiled a lot. And then at the very end, she just said, thanks for listening. And you'd be amazed at how much information you can cram into 60 seconds. She comes
Mhm.
across so well. It's a little handhold. I literally told her make a video and she went away and did it like 5 minutes later. She's like star student. And I was really impressed. And she's got it up there for a few years now. And it really sells her, you know. So I think it's a good idea. I know a lot of people will think I don't want to do video. I'm shy or I'm introverted. Don't worry. But if you feel like you could be brave enough to do it, I'd say go for it, because as we all know, everything is Zoom video these days. It's all change.
Well, I love that tip, and that's something I'm going to absolutely consider. I don't like doing video that much, but it's a
Yeah,
really, really good
either
tip.
do I. That's the thing, either do I. But I think I hate getting my photo taken as well. And we were talking about headshots, and you know, I probably look like I loved it in my headshot. My advice would be grin and bear it, because it makes such a difference if you have a professional headshot. You know, people will treat you differently. They will connect to you quicker. It will enable you to just build up a really good network, especially if you're an employee. Anytime you're reaching out to someone, you have that brand on your shoulders of that company behind you, which gives
Yeah.
you power. It gives you more. It's easier for, I always think, a professional than for someone like me as a small business owner. You have the power of that big firm on your shoulders, so you should be able to really open up opportunities. And I would just say grin and bear it. I absolutely hated my photo shoot. The lady was lovely. She made it, you know, pleasant enough, but I came home and got a migraine. So that's how much I hate photo shoots. And the similar with videos, even this is outside my comfort zone, but I just think it's so worth doing, and you feel good after. And once you've got the professional headshot, you can use them for a few years, unless you drastically change in appearance.
That's true. So we only have a few minutes left. So I want to let me see what questions are burning for me. So I'm really curious. You know, a lot of people that are watching this, they might be, you know, looking for a new job and they
Yeah.
want to get found. So I was curious, just tips, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, but how can people, you know, optimize their profile for SEO? Like, just how do they know what keywords to use? Like specific sections to optimize? I just was really curious about that.
I think if someone's looking for a new job, and if you've seen a job spec that you like somewhere, just literally go to that job spec the same way you would tailor your CV, and you would take out phrases, you know, whether it's the title, go through it and copy and paste those keywords all throughout your profile. So put them in your headline, put them in your summary, put them in your current experience. So any job spec will have those keywords throughout. And Christina mentioned SEO and search engine optimization. I think when you're saving down your headshot and your cover photo or any attachment that you attach to your profile, always give it a good name. So don't just load up something that's called 123.jpg or .png. You know, always give something a good name. So for me, it's Jennifer Corcoran, and I actually have LinkedIn consultant, Devon, United Kingdom. So always give it a good name. The same for your cover banner, give it a good name as well. And any attachment, because Google will index the title and so will LinkedIn within a few weeks. But the keywords, if you're looking for a new job, they're always in the job spec. So make sure you just, you know, each time you're going for something new, just make sure you look at that job spec and copy and paste. And there's a new feature on LinkedIn now, you know, which says that you're open to work, and you can attach that to your profile and you can click on what you're open for. So what I would say is, if you don't know about this feature, or you don't know what I'm talking about, look at my profile, because I've got it. And the way to get it on your profile, if it doesn't exist, is to actually click on someone else's profile who has the feature and go through it, and then it'll open the feature to you. It's a bit weird the way it's been set up. That's how I stumbled across it. I looked at somebody else's and then I could attach it to my profile. So yeah, don't put things like, you know, seeking new work or seeking employment or made redundant in your headline, because you're wasting characters. And you know, I just think you're better off optimizing with the keywords, clicking that open to work feature, and focusing on outbound. So focus on connecting with recruiters, connecting with companies. I think a lot of people think they just do a few magic tweaks and it will all come to them. So
Yeah.
I say focus on reaching out to others, and also focus on tapping into your network. So ask for introductions, don't be shy. If you want to work at a company and if you know one of your connections works there, just say, hi, Mary, can you introduce me at Joe? Because I'd love to chat to him about XYZ. Because LinkedIn's a lot more than our first degree connections. It's about tapping into who they know and how we can help each other. So yeah, don't be shy and have an active mindset. A lot of people are passive and just think of it as online, and they're going to come to me. And it's like networking. You have to make it go two ways to get the most out of it.
Okay, and that makes sense. Absolutely. And then just one quick question, and we have like another minute, but I was curious, is it worth it to upgrade to the premium LinkedIn?
I
Do you
think
feel
if
like it's
you're
worth it?
yeah, I think in general I would say no, but if you are focused on a new job, it's worth upgrading for free for a month and just tapping into it, because you can save down more searches with premium. So it would be good if you're like really focused looking, up loads of new jobs and saving them down. Otherwise, I don't think it's worth the money. I don't know what it is in dollars, but it's about 50 or 60 pounds a month. And I always think save yourself 500 or 600 and learn how to use the free version, because just because you go to premium, it doesn't really boost your profile. It doesn't really, if you don't have a well-optimized profile, if you haven't filled out sections, you're not going to come up in more searches just because you've upgraded to premium. You're still going to have a poor profile. You're just paying more money. One of the benefits, well, I don't really think they're benefits, but you get 15 in-mail a month if you upgrade to premium. And an in-mail is a message that you can send into anyone's account. You don't have to be connected. I always find them a bit spammy, and just because you send someone an email doesn't mean they're going to pay attention. And I always just reach out and connect with that person for free. If they don't connect with me, what I would do is I'd go to the very bottom of their profile, I'd see what groups they're in, and if we're in a shared group, I'd go in and you're able to message 15 people for free with the free version across all groups. So I would just message them from the group and say, we're both members of XYZ, I'd love to connect with you. And you've got a common bond, really, then you're both in the same group. So I'm not crazy on the email. I think they can feel a bit spammy. They're supposed to be an advantage. For me, they're not, because I can do my hack on the free version. And I just think, yeah, so many people invest in it and they spend whatever 500, 600 a year. And I just think you're better off get that money, invest in a good headshot, design a nice banner, like you can spend that money better, I think.
That's a really good tip to know. That's really good to know, especially like you can message the groups. I didn't know you can message up to 15 people in there. So that's really,
Yeah, it's good. So if you're in a good group, you could be in a good group with all your target audience. It could be a group, if you're looking for a new job, maybe all the great companies in that particular niche are in that group, and all the heads of learning and development or HR are in that group. So you can be really lucky and stumble across a great group, and that can just open everything for you. And I would say about a third of my network I've connected to in groups, so groups of people in like-minded associations or organizations or peers. And I think people, by the fact they're in a group, they're showing that they're up to connect and up to network. So I think a lot of people discount groups and think, oh, they're not very active, or they can be a bit spammy on the home feed. But I always look at the members in the groups, and there are some great people in groups. So yeah, I would definitely check out that free hack.
well, I love that. And, you've got a great group. And one of the things that I wanted to, close on is I was wondering if you could just share where people can find you online and connect with
Yeah.
you.
Well, so I'm on LinkedIn, and if anyone's looking up my URL, so my name is Jennifer Corcoran, and the very end of my URL is the number 1. So my company is called My Super Connector. So even if you type in My Super Connector on LinkedIn, hopefully I'll come up, and my company page will go up. And if you connect with me, I'm happy to invite you into my group. It's called Networking Tips with My Super Connector. So yeah, the best way to get me is on LinkedIn. Otherwise, my website is www.mysuperconnector.co.uk.
I
So it's
love it.
connector.
I love it. Well, and I absolutely love your LinkedIn group because you share tips all the time, and it's
Thank
really
you.
helpful. It's a valuable one. But we're out of time, and I really appreciate you being here, Jen. This has been really wonderful. I feel like you packed so much in. That's been really helpful.
Trying to cram it all in. It's all good.
Yes. Well, thanks again for being on. I hope you have a good rest of your day or good evening.
You too. And it was lovely to meet you after being connected for so long on LinkedIn. It's really nice to have met you virtually.
Yes, you too, Jen.
Have a good day as well. Okay, take care.
Thanks.